Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. So today I'm going to review an article. So I've been sent 2 or 3 different videos, and the last one I actually got attacked on because I made fun of her saying nah. So whatever. Today what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna break down this article instead. It's rather new, and it's from a blogger rather than a vlogger, and talk about what it's like to go to Vietnam, what to expect the first time around, what you should do when you get out here, and where to go, like north, south, east, west, central. What do you do when you get to these spots? So this article is awesome. I think it's actually quite detailed. It's not even that old. It's right after it's actually mid-pandemic, per se. So without further ado, let's get into the article. So first times guide to Vietnam. Who wrote this? Vietnamese person? Hold on, we already got grammar issues. We're having problems, people. Who cares? You know what? Who cares? So let's get into it. So we're going to go over the Vietnam overview, things to know before visiting, how long to stay. This is actually a good one I want to talk about. Where do you go the first time you visit? What to do the first time you visit? Is that kind of the same thing? How do you get around Vietnam? And Vietnamese dishes. So cool. So I got my sparkling water. I'm ready. Got to stay healthy, right? So let's read over this and see what's going on. So, I'm not going to lie to you, I'm going to kind of speed read a lot of this. Now, if you've never been to Vietnam and are considering making your next destination for your upcoming vacation, don't hesitate to put this on your first time in Vietnam detailed travel guide into your pocket. Though Vietnam is small, size of California actually, with 97 million people. You imagine California with 97 million people. And the thing is with California, or with Vietnam, sorry, most of the people are in like 3 or 4 different cities, like majority of people. Like the mass populations is in Saigon and Hanoi, and not Da Nang, but is it Da Nang? I think it might be Da Nang. It's one of the center cities, but it's not what you would think. Anyways, so things you need to sort out. Sort out your visa. We can actually save time on this. Everything is e-visa now. This seems older because they're showing this old. Well, 2015. Jesus. I have a visa that's older than that. That's crazy. But the visa, go online, do the e-visa. It's $25, gets you 30 or 90 days. That's it. If you want multiple entry, it's $50. Or it's 51 something after tax, I guess. But that will give you multiple entry if you want to leave and come back, stuff like that. Number 2, the weather. The weather is actually, it's a tropical country, I guess, in regards to the weather. So it does vary, though. So northern has seasons, very hot summer, dry, cool winter, September to November. It can be cold here, especially adjacent to the border of China. This is true. 2017, I think it was, 18, I was living in Sapa. I think it was 17, and it started snowing. Well, I wasn't living in Sapa, I was in Lao Cai. But it started snowing. Like, people were freaking out, dude. You thought driving to Vietnam was bad any time of the year. When it snowed, like, I don't know what it was, but everyone was trying to get out to drive. I don't know why. But it was just constant accidents, crashing, fighting. Like, it was chaos. But me, stupid American, I'm outside snowball fighting people. Like, the local kids and stuff. I'm just chucking snowballs at them. And they're just like, what the hell, man? So I ended up showing them a few of them what was going on, and they started explaining it. We just started doing snowman and snowball fighting, and it was actually really cool. Anyways, digressing. Center is it's kind of like autumn and spring year round. Like, it has hot seasons, but it's not bad actually. And in South Vietnam, it's pretty much tropical, where like 1 or 2 months. Oh, they actually say 2 months. 1 to 2 months of that time, and it does rain. It does get a little colder, but when it rains, it's quite warm. Number 3, people are friendly. I have talked about this a lot of times, and I've picked on Vietnam for this a lot of times because I feel this is sugar-coated. Vietnamese people are super nice people when you're within the city limits, if they're your friends. So I've lived out in like Phan Thiet, Lagi, Lao Cai, Lai Châu, Sapa. I've lived in all these weird spots, Hai Giang, Vinh City, Ho Chi Minh City, all these different spots. And I've always met nothing but nice Vietnamese people. But I also attract nice people, apparently. But in general, when I go out and I'm just me and I'm just seeing a random Vietnamese person, typically it's typically quite rude interaction. Vietnamese people are very me orientated, so it's not always how nice it is. A lot of people that do backpacking, even this article is about tourism. If you're in a tourist area anywhere in the world, I mean seriously, like if I don't know if you guys ever been to Washington D.C., that place is like rough. But when you're in the tourist areas by the White House and stuff like that, typically everybody's nice. And the same thing is in Vietnam. Same thing that you see in like Saigon or Hanoi. Like everyone's super nice. But the moment you get out of these tourist areas, bro, it's like dog versus dog. Like people are raw. And if you don't understand the language, you're going to get taken advantage of. You're gonna get talked about. No, the amount of times I went in and got haircuts and I heard the girls in the back just talking shish about the other customers or past customers or each other or me, whatever it is insane. So really nice people. If you're in the tourist area or they're your friends, if you know them personally. Past that, man, it's a hit and miss. I'm not saying they're all bad. It's definitely a hit and miss. Things are affordable. It's Vietnam, bro. Everything's cheap as shit. Clothes, like I buy all my clothes typically from Vietnam directly. It's where a lot of them are made. Like literally, even if I'm in Thailand, I will wait to buy clothes until I get to Vietnam, just because I know there's a big variety of whatever I want, and it's typically cheap. And I also know where the Boss factory is, so I know where to get like the nice quality shirts. That's where these. Oh, I don't have it on. The gray and pink shirt that I have are actually Hugo Boss shirts that were made for Hugo Boss but never stamped. So they're just like stampless, identityless shirts, but they're Hugo Boss. And I ended up getting those for like a couple dollars each. So stupid cheap. Everything out here is affordable. Food, cost of living, renting a bike, renting a car, all that stuff. Dress appropriately. Vietnam is not a conservative country regardless. Clothing, you do not need to dress like... Can I say that? Because everyone's so offended in the West these days, but you can't dress like these women, and it's totally fine to wear skirt, shorts, flip-flops. Yeah, I mean, wear anything. Most girls in Vietnam, Western or Vietnamese, typically, like, they're just wearing, like, short shorts, and it's not a visually sexual thing to everybody out here. It might be to people that are new to Vietnam, be like, wow, look at all these legs, but typically, it's fine. Guys typically don't have shirts on, or they do like they pull their shirt halfway up, call it the Saigon bra. That happens a lot. The only exception to this, though, does it talk about religious cover up? Yeah, religious. The only exception is if you're in temples or if you go to a church, have a little respect. People won't really kick you out unless you're in a temple like Central Vietnam. But they typically won't kick you out. They'll just look at you bad because you're not dressing for the occasion. It's not like in Thailand. If you dress like a Vietnamese girl typically dresses and go to a Thailand temple, they will remove you. This isn't a sexist thing. You can't wear that stuff, be a guy or girl, you know? So, yeah, definitely dress appropriate for religious stuff, you know, ceremony, stuff like that. But typically, day to day, wherever the hell you want. I mean, most people are just wearing fake clothes, like fake Gucci's or stuff like that. Jeans, shorts. Guys typically are just wearing jeans and then their shirt halfway up for some reason. And then the girls are just wearing like super short shorts and some designer shirt, something like that. The food, it is a food paradise. It is. In regards, this is something I like about Vietnam over other countries. The street food has everything Vietnam has to offer in regards to food. If you want pho, spring rolls, bún cha, com tom, co ba, like all this stuff, everything that you could imagine Vietnam food-wise, you can find at a street market somewhere. It's insane. You cannot do this in Thailand. You cannot do this in Cambodia. Lao, I don't know their food that well to say if you can or not, but they don't have a lot of street markets or street food in Lao. And when they do, it's typically just like rice and some meat. So I don't know. I don't think that's all of Laos food. So I'm going to say this is only a Vietnam thing. Same with like Japan, Singapore, Malaysia. You can't find all their delicacies and their like specialty foods on a street market. Vietnam, you can. Everything. Public transportation is easy enough. What does that mean? Like buses? Speaking of transportation in Vietnam, it can be Vietnam one of the easiest countries in Asia to take to its affordable and inexpensive network of means of travel. As a traveler, you can get from any corner of Vietnam to the other with public, sleeper buses. There are also, well, the train too. There are many options you can choose from travel around Vietnam. Okay, so I thought it was talking local. So locally, let me just get out what I thought it was talking about. This is an old picture. This Burger King and Popeyes are no longer here. The public bus system is not good for a Western person. I've talked about this before in other videos, recently actually. Everything's in Vietnamese. The bus drivers are out of control. They don't really stick to the same route. As long as they get from A to B, they're happy. So sometimes bus drivers will take shortcuts if traffic's bad. And nothing's really in English. The people taking these buses are typically older Vietnamese people that, because younger people are typically taking motorbikes and stuff. So you're interacting with old Vietnamese people, meaning they don't speak English. So when you start asking about stuff, your accent's probably going to be wrong. It typically is with us Westerners because Vietnamese has different accents. So they're not going to understand what you're talking about. It's going to be harder to find where to go. So avoid that. In regards to getting around all of Vietnam, the train system is actually quite cool. If you're going to go from north to south, like the full haul run, I would almost say don't. I did it 1.5 times. I actually skipped out halfway through the second time because I just couldn't take it. But the first time around, because it stops at these train stations and people like the vendors get onto the train. They just start like opening your door, pulling your sheets off your bed, looking for you, asking if you want to buy stuff. It's an experience, but after like the fish shop, you want to kill somebody. You know, because it's like, it's so crazy. But you do get to see a lot of the countryside. You get to see the parts of Vietnam that isn't covered in trash and pollution, and the air is good quality, and the ground isn't covered in plastics and stuff like that. So that is it's a nice scenery thing to do, definitely. And my advice, like if you do really go to Phan Thien, it's near Muan, and you can jump. There's a train that goes by the coast. Get on that train, ride it up. You can ride it up for like I think it's like 120 kilometers for you to actually want to come back before it sends you off to central Vietnam. But it's a beautiful like coastal drive, and it's just going across the ocean. It's beautiful, man. Everything else, taxis, 3-wheel bikes. Taxis. Oh, the push things. Yeah, that's for fun to take selfies. But yeah, taxis and motorbikes, just get a Grab. Use the Grab app and get them. Try not to just jump into a taxi unless you have to. They typically screw you around. And especially in tourist areas, they'll double the rate if you don't know. If you get in their cab drunk, they'll start playing around with stuff to raise, because you're not going to know what you're paying for at that point. You might not even know the difference between a 20,000 and a 500,000 at that point, because they look so similar. If you're drunk, you're just like whatever. So do be careful with that. But yeah, really it. And then you can fly if you want to fly. Flying is actually not bad domestically because most Vietnamese don't do it. It's pretty much a rich people thing in Vietnam still, and that is still a thing. Like there's a status where people are proud of their status. Airlines are typically what that is the richer end. Number 8, be aware of road safety. There is no rules to the road. When you cross, just be slow. No sudden movements, just walk. That's it. That's the trick too. I know so many people do YouTube videos about like how to cross the road in Vietnam. Stupid. Just cross the road. And just be aware, nobody gives a shit about you. If they hit you, they're going to hit you. And they're going to keep going. They're going to look at you maybe, but they're going to keep going. Nobody cares about anybody else but themselves when it comes to driving. And if you're on the sidewalk, they will mow you down. Cars and buses especially will start honking at you when you cross the road. Even if you have the right of way and they're illegally running through an intersection, they will still slam their horn on you and look at you angry. Like, it's insane. So be careful with that. How long to stay in Vietnam for the first time? So it's giving you like a time frame. What is this, 15? So this is like 30 days. Okay. So travel Vietnam classic way, combine. Okay, who cares? So these are cities. I'll give you my 2 cents on them. Sapa, number 1. Definitely go check out Sapa. Sapa's definitely changed since I was there. Like the first time I went there was like 2016. And it was phenomenal, man. Like these are Hmong people. These aren't even Vietnamese people. You can tell by the outfits or the dressing. They've destroyed Sapa. Like, I don't know like whose bright idea it was, but they realized that Sapa was becoming a big tourist area in 2016-17, and they pretty much bulldozed everything, removed a lot of the minorities, including the Hmong people, and they turned everything into a hotel. So it is kind of lame. It sucks. It used to be a great spot. It's still worth looking into and visiting. And if you've never been there before, you probably have no idea what I'm talking about, and you probably just enjoy your trip anyways because you don't know what it was before, which is probably for the better. So go there, definitely. I would recommend a couple of days there at most. There's not a lot to do in Sapa. It's all tourist gimmicky stuff, but the countryside stuff is really worth it. And if you are going to stay there longer, if you can, rent a bike and motorbike over to Lao Cai. I think it's a nice spot to go. There's a walking border to China as well. I think it's closed now because of the pandemic having its issues, but it's definitely something cool to look at. Number 2, Halong Bay. Halong Bay is the biggest hype and disappointment I've ever seen in tourism. It is a horrible spot. The people, I'm going to get in trouble for this. The people are typically assholes in Halong Bay. I lived in Halong Bay. I knew people. I had friends. I told you before, if you have friends in Vietnam, they're typically nice to you. They were even dicks. They were dicks to their own families. So Halong Bay, like the community sucks. The food is like subpar. Like it's actually pretty damn bad. We had like hot pots and stuff, and they were putting like ramen seasoning into our hot pots, and it was just like it was disgusting. I think they use recycled oil here for a lot of their cooking because the rice tastes weird. The meats have like a weird tang to them. And in regards to the actual tour, do it. You have to do this tour. It's awesome for one day, but after a day, like get out of there, man. I strongly suggest for most people, if you've already got your tickets and stuff, to go to this Halong Bay tour itself. Just go there for the day, do the tour, go back to Hanoi. Hanoi is like a 2-hour bus ride. You can literally just take a bus from Hanoi to here, or to there, Halong Bay, and you'd be okay. But, man, like people give me shit for this, but yeah, Halong Bay is, I've actually cussed the most in this video because of this part. It's just a horrible place, and it blows my mind how rude a lot of people are there, how dirty it is, how bad the food is. And the tour is like, it's cool to see it. Typically, the tour guys have no idea what they're talking about. Unfortunately, they're just reading out a Travelocity. Actually, the guy that we went with had a Travelocity book, and he was reading through it. It was funny. And then when you get, so they'll drop you off at different like mountains where you can kind of like go into these caves and stuff. And a lot of them near the bottom, it's just covered in trash. And you see the staff down there peeing and sleeping, and it's just nuts. Hanoi, definitely visit Hanoi. It's an awesome city. It's a calm version of Saigon. I think Hanoi is an awesome city. Actually, I actually like Hanoi. And I'm not just saying it because it's the capital and I just destroyed Halong Bay. But I really do think Hanoi is quite a good city. This area right here, you see right here, it's in the tourist areas. It's actually a big park. You can walk around. And when I came to Hanoi like 2 months ago, they had a marathon thing that I ran down there. So this is like going around the whole area. It's a really cool area. This is just in the center. You can't go there. It's surrounded by water, obviously. Way, definitely go to Way. Old Town, you're looking at it right here. It's huge. There's nothing to it. Like it's empty. Like there's a Chinese coffee shop in the center. That's really nice. Look, I did a video on this. You guys want to check it out? I walked through it all, and it was during the pandemic time, so it was quite empty, as in no tourists. But I went back after, and when it was like really busy, and it was more people, but it was the same stuff, and it was more vendors. So if you go to Way, the city is it's just a normal city. It really is. The city, what is this, ancient city? I thought it was called Old City, but the ancient city of Vietnam. It's a beautiful thing to say. The cool thing about it is this is during Vietnam's Chinese era, when Vietnamese spoke and wrote in a Chinese type of language. Like they even wrote in Chinese. Their kings did. Their emperors did. Whatever they were called. So you get to see that history evolve into what Vietnam is today with the Latin language and the family running the country, electing presidents and stuff like that. So there's a lot of history you to learn about. Hoi An, 100%. You notice the more south we're going, the happier I'm getting. But Hoi An is definitely a good site. It's right next to Da Nang. We actually walked from Da Nang to Hoi An. Stupid, right? But I didn't ask for your opinion. I thought it was a good workout. But Hoi An is really cool. This is the Old Town area. Why am I calling everything Old Town? This is an awesome city to go here. Da Nang is awesome. We have the in between them actually is the Marble Mountain. If you get bored, go there. It's a hike, dude. It is a long hike, but you get so high that you can see Da Nang and Hoi An like from opposite sides. It's a really cool thing to see. What does it say about it? Hoi An is a World Heritage Old Town, used to Southeast. Yeah, so yeah, the Old Town. The rest of Hoi An is mostly like farm town. Like, actually, I think Hoi An is one of the cleaner spots as well. Like, it's actually not that dirty in retrospect to what Vietnam standardly is. But it's definitely a good spot to live. If you're retiring or you're trying to come out here long term, Hoi An is a good spot to go because Da Nang's right down the way too. You have beautiful beaches. Hoi An is known for custom tailor clothes and stuff like that. Ho Chi Minh City, Saigon. This place makes me want to punch watermelons that are on dolphins' heads. Is that graphic enough for you guys? I hate this city, man. Like, it is not the city that I just hate the pollution, as in air pollution, the ground pollution, the chaos, the pushiness. And I understand it. Like, people that are living in Saigon typically are Vietnamese that are from outside of Saigon that are trying to make money to survive and support their families. So I totally get it. It is like New York City on crack with more crime. Maybe not as extreme crime, but it is getting better. Like they finished up like a light rail thing, something like that, and some other things. So it's definitely becoming a better city. But yeah, I don't know. Like if you need a job, 100%. Like Ho Chi Minh City or Hanoi are your two best bets as a Westerner. But yeah, man. Like when I left Saigon after like 7 years, because I spent 4 years in Saigon, and I aged. Like I don't know how to say it. Like my skin was really clean. My teeth were discolored at a point. Yeah, I did smoke, but point being, I was stressed. My hair was thinning. Like just a lot of like natural aging processes were happening faster. When I returned back to America for like 3 or 4 months, and then started traveling around like Singapore, Thailand, lived in Thailand actually for a while. I started to get younger again. And I came back to Vietnam recently, and I'm already feeling like it's harder to breathe again. I'm seeing like the wrinkle stuff in there. I'm constantly inhaling cigarette smoke from like everybody smoking. It's nuts, man. Bui Dai, this is just north of Phan Thiet. It's like a vacation town. It's mostly mostly Vietnamese go here. Westerners come here, go to like the backpacking areas and hang out for a few days, and then they're up and out. Definitely a good spot to go. I strongly recommend. It has like you see the dudes right here. This is funny. So right in front of this is the main road, and like the dudes are part of the sidewalk per se. So what you're looking at is you're looking from the road to the dudes, and it goes back quite far. But you can rent like quads, and you can cruise around, kind of quad on these, and do what you want. And you're always having vendors walking around them. It's annoying, but it's funny. Because you'll be sitting, like we're talking like 600 meters back, and you're just sitting there on the dudes, relaxing with your friends, chilling, having a beer, whatever. And then this random vendor walks up to you and say, hey, do you want to buy a watch? You're like, what? What? So it's kind of weird. So yeah, this is definitely a must. Phan Thiet is one of my favorite spots. Like seriously, I lived in Lagi for like 2 years, which is just south of Phan Thiet. It's in the same province actually as Bua Dai. And I did that because I just love the area. It's one of my favorite spots in Vietnam. So, getting through that, how to get around Vietnam, planes, we've talked about that. Buses, you have sleeper buses, avoid local ones, but sleeper buses. They also have vans. They call them VIP vans. It doesn't mean anything. They're just vans. I think they call them VIP limos. They're not limos, they're vans. I remember the first time I got told, hey, we're going to take a limo up to Phan Thiet or whatever. I'm like, damn, okay. And it's just like this ghetto-ass Ford van. It's just like, okay, whatever. So vocabulary is different up here in Paris. But, yeah. So buses, sleeper buses, and then the vans are good. The vans are typically for more short-term. Like, you're going city to city, stuff like that. If you're going from Saigon to Hanoi, you're going to be on a sleeper bus. You're going from Saigon to, like, Dalat. You're typically on a sleeper bus. You can actually get vans to Dalat, which is probably smarter, to be honest with you. They're way faster, not as chaotic. And then number 3, trains. Definitely, like I said before. Here it is actually. This is, I'm pointing at the screen, like you guys can see me. But this is the Bua Dai area. So this train kind of cruises around the coast, and then it goes into it's like a farm area. It's a dragon fruit area where it kind of stops off. It keeps going, but you want to get off on that dragon fruit area, buy some dragon fruit, enjoy the area, and then get back on the train and come back to Phan Thiet, or you're going to start going to the middle lower. Because after Phan Thiet, there's nothing for a while. Like, it's like a 3 to 4 hour train ride of nothing. That's it. What else is there? First time, what do you do? Again, Halebe, agree. The world's largest cave. I hear this is opening up easier. I got in here and it was hard. Like, because this is a new mountain. Let me rewind that. This is a newly found, discovered mountain in Vietnam. So Vietnam tried to capitalize the hell out of it like in 2016, 17. And we got into it. We got one of these like promotion things through a bank. And we got in there. It's really cool. It's huge. It's freaking huge. This is before I started really vlogging, I guess. So I don't really have any pictures of it, but it's ridiculously huge, and it's worth going. I hear tickets are like $3,000 or $4,000, and you have to reserve them like months in advance. If that's the case, it's not that great. But if you go there, the ticket price is like 10, 20, 40, $50. Yeah, 100%. Number 4, complete of God's hands. That is definitely not God's hands. He cleans himself. In Da Nang, though, this is actually kind of cool to see. It's super small. This bridge, like what you're seeing right now, is literally the entire bridge. It just kind of goes over, and then I'm going to point here, but like right next to the far hand is a trolley that goes up, which I think is kind of the better part of the entire experience, is going up, because you're seeing all of Vietnam and Da Nang. All of Da Nang. It's crazy cool. Floating markets. Yeah, I forgot about that. South of Saigon, you get to like Can Tho and whatnot. You have the Mekong Delta. It's a river city. And you get on a boat and start shopping. You're buying the same thing you can buy anywhere in Vietnam. You're not buying anything special. It's not different. It's not unique. It's just you're buying it on a boat. You're buying it from a boat, being on a boat. You're paying for the experience. It's not the stuff. Windsurfing to Bua Net. We just talked about Bua Net right here. Definitely good there. Windsurfing, do what you got to do. The waves, as a Hawaiian that used to surf, the waves in Vietnam are not that great. Go to Bali. Honestly, Thailand actually has some good spots here and there. They're hard to find, but Thailand does have their spots. But Vietnam, nah. There's your body surfing at best. And that's kind of it. Eating in Vietnam for the first time, regarding Vietnamese food, is essentially diverse and fabulous complex. There are wonderful things waiting for you ahead, surely making your journey an enjoyable adventure of food from the north to the south. Due to the differences in climate, blah, blah. Is there a warning in this? The north? Oh, I didn't even talk about this, but I think they're about to say the same thing as me. The north is typically more natural, tasty, and spicy, where the south is more sweet sugar. Let's see. The north, spice, and no, I didn't cheat and see that. The north is spice and herbs, not used frequently in cooking in the south. True, due to the colder climate. I didn't know it was because of climate issue. People in the north typically don't like sweeter stuff. They did it back then. I think now it's getting more of a trend. I think the world is like processed foods and stuff. But the south, they hate spicy food. They hate like herby food. They love sweet. The more sugar, the better in the south, literally. So most North Vietnamese are more flavorful and vibrant. This is very true. Best pho I've ever had. Best food's always been in the north. Resulting from blah, blah, blah. Central cuisines are notable for its bold and broad. Central Vietnam's food is very... It kind of has like a Western taste to it. I think it's because of the French influence. Most of the French influence, the heavy part of it, was in Central Vietnam. And you can see the architecture, the history of the kings, how the kings worked with France, and yada, yada, yada. There's a huge, even the bread is different. I remember that, like, banh mi is way different in Central Vietnam. It's really good, too. It's definitely different. First time travelers should not miss going to street markets, being afraid to try street food. This is true. I wouldn't go too crazy right away, though. Your first couple of days, give it some time. Avoid things like eggs. Avoid oily foods. I know that's going to be hard in Vietnam, but like you can have pho, banh mi, stuff like that. Like it says right here, yeah, pho, banh mi, bún cha, cuốn ga. This is like the spring roll. Bún bò Hue, bún bò Huế. And all these are actually good suggestions if you're just getting to Vietnam. I would avoid the heavy, greasy stuff, though. There's a lot of it. But the reason I say is because sometimes the grease it's gutter grease, where they recycle grease out of the gutter. Yes, it happens. And they'll be using non-filtered or non-clean water, or the way they manage and handle the foods can possibly get you sick if your body's not used to it yet. You know what I mean? Definitely be careful of that. But I think that kind of sums it up. I didn't do the video, but we did the article. I hope that helps out on some ideas on when you first get to Vietnam, what you could do, what you could expect. It's a longer video, so it's a lot of information. So I'm going to get out of here, guys. Let me know what you think below. What is the first thing you're going to do to go to Vietnam? Like, really, what would be your first thing? Mine, when I first came back to Vietnam, every time I came back to Vietnam, I always just went back to Phan Thiet. Went to the beach. Just chilled the hell out. Bua Net was actually my getaway for so long. I love it there, man. With a passion. What about you guys, though? But past that, subscribe, follow along, smash the like button, leave that comment. I'm going to get out. Till then, guys, I will see you again.